All right, let's get it going. And Bill just challenged me over there. He said, if we have time, I'm gonna turn 2 pieces, so.
Well, you
I guess that that's a challenge. I'll take that as a challenge. So the first one I'm gonna do is, this is a piece of Bradford pear that Dennis Hall brought up to me, and got a little bit of bark damage on it, but it'll work for this. I've already marked the center on it. I put a date and what the item is on all of my items, so I'll know what's going on. This thing is wet. It will have water slinging out while we're doing it. We can get a center in there. Hopefully get it back the same spot. And I'm using this insert here to go inside the chuck because I don't want to have to take the chuck on and off. I think several of you have seen me do those before. It saves you a lot of time, I think. And since Bill has challenged me to get 2 of them done, I need all the time I can get.
rock and roll.
How many of you has turned a twig pot? Shoot, I don't even need to do it. There's examples over there, and John, the one behind you that does not have a flower in it. When you pick that one up, it's heavy. This pear was cut just a few days ago. Dennis went out and cut the wood and brought it to me. I think he cut it a week ago, yesterday, or something like that. And it's been wrapped in plastic, so it's in pretty good shape. All right, well, let's see what we can do. Yeah, I guess we'll use a roughing gouge. I'm used to my controls being over here. I don't do airplane mode, so I don't want it turning 3,000-4,000 RPM personally. Just a way to get hurt quicker, I think. So I'm just going to rough this thing in a little bit. So immediately I noticed that it doesn't like the highest speed setting. And I'm assuming that's going to be because of the 110. We should have a little more torque now. Much better, much better. And what we're shooting for is we're going to get down to somewhere about right there. And what I want to do is I want to get a tenon on this thing pretty quick. So I'm just going to rub the ends down. Get it down to about right there and we'll put a tenon on it. See about what we need out of that. Don't want to get it too small. That off of there. Just getting some stuff out of my way there. Knuckle busters, I call them. Should be good. We'll put a nice little 77 degree on that guy. Knock the edge off, knock the edge off. Should be good. Center out. Get this thing where we can grip on it now. If you ever leave it too long like that, it's good if you have a saw. So you can carry this thing over here. Has that ever happened to anybody?
Yeah.
I had to show off the saw.
New to the arsenal.
All right, that should be good there. It cost somebody $5 to hurt a phone.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Garbage.
Nobody going to admit to it? Who donated $5 to the club? All of you guys and gals that's been turning these, is that kind of the way y'all turn them? Or do you have a different method? Must be the way y'all turn them.
Pretty close.
Let's see what we got going on there. Should be a nice knot right there. And you can either take that off or leave it. I think I'm going to take a little bit of it off. You can always sand that a little bit too, make it look a little better. That looks better to me. Sounds a little better too, doesn't it? And at this point, you want to kind of try to figure out how big a diameter you want to leave this thing. Something about like that looks pretty good to me. Just a nice way to quickly get the size there. That's a 3/8 beading and parting tool in case anybody was wondering. And I'm going to make a finish cut on that and be done with it. That should be about it on that. I like to use a little narrow tool rest for this where I can get in there close. Take the hammer off or get it out of the way. My tool rest is a little grabby there. A little bit of wax on it usually takes care of that. The back of my finger was hanging on it, sticking. It's probably smooth enough. We won't spend a whole lot of time on the end down here other than about right there. That should be good enough. Am I gonna have time to do my bowl?
Oh, no.
All right, we need to figure out how deep we want that thing. You don't want to edge it. I don't have my marker. Oh, that's pretty good. We'll just go down to the end of the drill bit. This one. I'm just going to cut the end of that off a little bit. Well, you almost got up to speed. Clear my chips. Be good.
And what speed do you normally drill at when you're using a twist bit like that?
Anywhere from 250 to 450. 250, 300 is just fine. Real slow, otherwise you're going to just burn it up.
Okay.
And if you get hot enough, your drill bit's going to expand and you're going to end up with it stuck. And on something like this, that's okay because you just bust your piece of wood, get the thing out and make you another because they're cheap. And I'm just putting a little bit of a bevel on that thing and a little bit of bevel out here. And one thing that I've found, you have a little scraper like this, it works real good. I'll have to raise my wrist up to use it. This one is just a 33 degree on one side and 66 on the other. Kind of works like a negative rate. It works real good. It won't grab on you, which is what you're looking for. And you can see there, we can put a pretty decent finish on it. That's about it on that one. You can sand it if you want to. Just take you a piece of coarse sandpaper like this, 220 or something, and just stick it in the hole. Right like that. Kind of wad it up, it'll go in there eventually. Just like that. It'll make a little bit of noise. It'll kind of clean that hole out for you a little bit in there. And then it sands this outside right here. And then if you want any kind of pattern on it, or the ones for the winery I think we done 3s on just about everything. I'm not going to sand this all the way, I'm just showing you how I do them. That's good enough for for this demo. Show you a quick way to make the beads on there, if you want them. So what I do is I try to figure out about where that is. That would be one of them right there. That would be one. That would be one. And the wire. Just where you're going to crank the lathe all the way up. Thank you. Glad you spotted it. Once that wire gets hot, you can go back and hit the other. I've had people ask me, how do you get that black groove in there? And try not to touch the wire while it's still hot. It will burn the heck out of you. And then I usually just hit it with a little bit of sandpaper just to knock the edge off of it. Because it can get a little bit sharp on you. Finish. We're not going to spend time on it, but at least show you the finish. This is Stacy's finish. It's just beeswax and honey. Honey. Yes, it's mineral oil. No honey, I hope. We'll be eating that stuff if it is. I think I got honey dippers on my mind. That's what we're going to be doing in June. Our next month's club meeting is not a good day for them because Lisa said there won't be anybody here hardly at all that day. So we're going to shoot for one of those 2 next weeks with the kids and do it all on the same day.
Okay.
So, any of the volunteers that we get, for y'all that want to do that, we have to have a background check ran before that day. So if you are interested in helping out with that, we are going to be doing a demonstration just like this. We'll have 2 or 3 lathes set up, and it will be kids from the ages of 11 to 6 to 11. Thank you.
6 to 11 here at the Parks and Rec. We're going to be doing a demonstration. They're having kids camps all summer. And we're going to be doing demonstrations for the kids there. And we're also, on one of those days, we're going to be doing another demonstration for the seniors here in the senior center. And we'll be making honey dippers and spinning tops for the seniors, and we'll be making spinning tops for the kids. But any of the demonstrators have to be approved, and we need the Parks and Rec, the city needs background checks run for anybody that's going to be working with the kids. That's one of the county policies. So if anybody would like to, assist in any of that, see Tamara or myself one, and we can get you fixed up, get that stuff done.
You have dates on that already?
Hmm?
Do you have the dates on those events yet?
Tim, do you have one with you?
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah. We know what weeks, we don't know which day of the week we're going to be doing, but the week of May 28th, 29th, and 30th, we'll be doing one for the kids. June 17, 18, and the 20th, that's Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday of that week. And then Monday, June 24th, the 25th, and Thursday, the 27th. And then in July, the 15th, 16th, and 18th. We know they will be one of those days in those weeks. We're still working to finalize exactly what day that will be. And we're welcoming help for anybody that would like to help us with it. We just got to follow their policy. We don't need the background checks for the seniors, but we do for the kids' events.
Just making sure that I got a little bit of a recess in the bottom of that. Couldn't find my straight edge, it's around here somewhere, but it doesn't matter. All right, so we got a little bit of recess in there. We just need to park that thing off and we're done with that one.
You done good, Tim.
Well, not my first one. I think this is my fourth or fifth one. Saw again. And I'll just back this thing, pressure off of it. Get this out of the way.
We'll put a notch in the tools.
You notice I got a little bit of a bow in my saw there to keep me from hitting the edges. It's aggravating when you go through and you mess up the thing that you just finished up and you had it all pretty, and then your saw goes in, you cut some places in it. And be sure you find those and throw them in a box or something, because when you step on them, you will take a ride and you will fall down. So that's it on the tip pot. And what I do, the camera is short, I just take an 80 grit and just brush the bottom of this guy out. And after it dries, then I go back and finish it off a little bit. And I'm not going to do all that. But the other thing I do is I roll all the way around the outside edge of that, just like that. And it just peels that edge a little bit. And again, I'm not going to completely sand it, but at least knock it off just where I'm kind of sand it around a little bit. And that's all of that one. Put a little beeswax and mineral oil on it. Normally I take the air hose and blow that out, but anyway, that's one. So that's what we do with that limb. And by the way, it will rust the heck out of your lathe. So very frequently, get those chips off of there. My lathe, I turned several of those out of the red oak the other day. And my lathe, I was watching it rust, and I had a coating on it to keep it from rusting. So it will happen. It will happen quick.
Tim,
Any questions?
on your burning tool?
Yes, sir.
Burning wire, did you make that? Or?
No, I bought those. Woodcraft may sell them.
I do, we don't, but you have to order them because we don't have them in the store.
Yeah, it's a set. I think there's four in a bag, different sizes. You want to pass that around, John?
Yeah, they're pretty readily available to most anybody.
I like the heck out of them, and I'm not going to make them. People make them, they buy wire, and I don't have time for all that. And it's, you know, it's inexpensive, and I use the heck out of them.
Peachtree's got them.
Peachtree's got them, Penn State's got them, Amazon's got them, so you can pretty much find them most anywhere. And most all of them are probably made by the same people, and you get the same set of four. It's just whatever brand name's on the bag.
So the next one is this guy. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you go in here with a Forstner bit, like so. Make you a hole. And does anybody know why I do that? Why do I waste my time doing that other than finding a hole? Anybody know?
For your life center? It won't come off.
Say what?
When you put it on your chuck, it holds it better.
Yeah, all of this bark is loose, and this thing is slinging. And if I'm relying on it on that bark, more than likely the bark will break off, and that piece is going to come out of the lathe. That's why I do it. And normally I do a spur for this guy. So we'll actually switch to this one. Hold that spur up. Yeah. I'll actually lay it there where you can see it.
Three.
Can you see it?
Different diameter wires.
These lathes do not have a spindle lock. You have to use a wrench. Use this guy. This one I've already marked my center just to save time because I didn't want to be here. Bill said that there was no way I was going to have time to do it, so I wanted to make sure that I got most of it done anyway.
Just trying to prove me wrong, I know.
Hey, anytime I get a chance to prove you wrong,
Hey, it's pretty easy to prove me wrong.
on a challenge,
That's not a problem.
if it's a challenge, yes, sir. I've also found that if you tighten this a little and bump it a little, it tends to seat it pretty good. That's a dead blow, so it's not going to hurt anything. Now all we need to do is get this flat. Who all's turned live edge like that? All right, that's, at least we've got a few that hadn't done it. Bill's probably going to ask me to show that. That is a rather large bowl gouge. You'll see why in a minute, but I can overhang that thing a lot without it bending or breaking.
We have a problem.
No, we don't use that button.
I know, I hit it by mistake.
You got it.
There it is. Okay,
You got it?
we're back.
What else are we going to have today? John and I have had a lot of challenges
I was
today.
gonna say, it sounds like it, like we need to get another extension cord too.
Need to figure out what is bad. All right, all I'm going to do is flatten this out a little bit. That should be flat. Looks good. Put more tailstock pressure on it. And then we're going to round it out. Put that on about a 45 degree. And this is where you'll see that big bowl gouge comes in handy. And I'm going to put my glove on. Didn't think I was going to be able to do my demo. I could not make a fist. I had a nerve problem in the trigger finger and had to go get a injection in my hand. So I'm trying to protect it as much as I can. And these shavings will hit you across the knuckles. So I take a golfer's glove, if you buy a 3-pack of them, left-handed, and we're good. So I do that just to keep them chips from hitting the back of my hand there so much. Protects me a little bit. If you're using that big bowl gouge like this, a 3/4 inch bowl gouge, I can overhang that thing a lot and not get any shadow on the bar from flexing. So it actually lets me go in and take several cuts without having to move the tool rest. Because, you know, we're not supposed to be moving that tool rest while the blade's running. Always double checking that tailstock pressure. Be a little more aggressive on it now. You look okay.
I didn't burn my face.
So you didn't bring your face shield? We got 5 of them hanging in the
No, I'm gonna have to run back there. and
room
get one.
back there.
I believe you're trying to get some payback, shooting all the chips in my direction.
Whoa. I don't like it going that way.
Doesn't cut.
Oh, it does. You just have to turn the tool over. Turn the tool upside down and you cut it down the other direction. Can't do that with half inch bowl guide, can you? Alright, let's see what we got. It's probably about deep enough there. We need to be figuring out what we're going to do as far as the tuning on this thing, because we've got to get it into a chuck. That would be a good time to go ahead and measure it. I'm going to double check that chuck. I like to leave them open pretty big. Bill, I'll show that whenever we get over there. Give you something as a reference. You only want to touch one side, you don't want to touch both, otherwise it'll grab. I've done that in one of my demos, set it, and then I've done that. That's not a good example. I'm pretty close yet. I believe that'll work. We'll just take a 1/2 inch bowl gouge on that. Go ahead and mark where the pin's going to be there. This is exactly 77 degrees, which matches that chuck that I'm using. So you don't have to guess about it. And you never cut both at the same time. You either cut that face or this face. Kill the edge. And then out here somewhere, I'm going to do a second cut. That's going to be the bottom of the bowl. Back out here. This keeps us from going through the bottom of the bowl. Now, I'll probably go through the bottom of the bowl since I said that. But it gives you something to shoot for, because what happens is, and I'm using a spindle gouge there, in case anybody's wondering. So what happens is we got our tenon here, and we act like that's the bottom of the bowl. If that's the case, we'll go through the bottom of the bowl. So I cut a double tenon on there, and that will truly be the bottom of the bowl. So it gives you that other 3/8 of an inch or so to keep you from going through. It took me a long time to get where I could do that, because I didn't see the need. He said, well, you ever going through the bottom of the bowl? Yeah. Well, that's fine. Quit it. So now we're going to start to shape our bowl a little bit. Make it a little bit rounded. That should be pretty good. We should be able to clean this up a little bit. A little scraping motion on it there. I'm still rusty. I spent several months in the recovery of the shoulder surgery. Then I had the hand problem, and I found out that I got very rusty. It was almost like starting to turn again. I'm not going to spend any time on the finish of this other than probably one quick
Push in the other way.
This red oak is sharp. The tool is sharp when I brought them in. The red oak is dull and my tool is real quick. So they appear to not be sharp. But they are. All I'm doing is making what I think will be a finished cut there. A little bit of a knock there, it sounds like. I heard it. I see a little bit of the line. Nothing too bad. If you hit it with a little bit of sandpaper, it'll probably come right off. We'll give it a try and see. Didn't come all the way out. That's when you take something like your negative brake scraper, pull that line off. That's the only reason I brought it. See that line disappear that was there? That one right there. We'll take that one out. That edge on that scraper will last about 20 seconds. And that's why we have such a big tool. You'll notice I'm rotating the handle around a little bit and using a different place. And just pull that line out. And we wouldn't normally spend much time on this anyway, because more than likely you're going to finish this thing up. It's wet, it's got to dry, and then you're going to sand it. So I'm going to leave it like that. It looks pretty good. Questions on that part? Now you got questions. Everybody's happy with that. We'll get that out of there.
Don't do that.
Say what?
Tell Tom not to do that.
Now we all learned, ask some questions.
That question is you get good answers.
What are we doing on time?
You got till at least 9.
I haven't looked at the clock. I knew you'd be under control. I just had to poke it a little bit.
Oh, I ain't worried about it. I just don't want everybody to get bored. Hey, Bill, 10 and fit. The 10 and fit.
Did it?
Should we take it back out and redo it?
That must be why you measured that.
Cut it too small, it's still too small. 3 times I cut it too small. And if that ain't tight enough, you can turn them this way. It's really tight. I like those T-handles. I think those things are about $12 or something like that. Joe's got some, I think.
Yep.
Now guys, you don't have to do this. I usually start out with a little bit of tailstock pressure and I make a couple of cuts. Probably totally unnecessary.
Better safe than sorry till you know
That's
you're
just
in
Tim.
good shape. Yeah. I
Well,
will
if you ever
always
have one
use
come off the
tailstock
way, you'll
support if I
appreciate
can.
that tailstock.
Yes,
sir.
Keep it on there as long as you can.
As long as I can.
Well, it's not going to run dead true anyway because we flipped it around, but it'll get me a good start on it anyway. Now, one thing that I have found is, when I was working with this red oak the other day, is I can go all the way through with that thing, drilling my way in with the bowl gouge. But I found that if I pop this guy in there, put a Forstner in, and take some of that out, it was much quicker. And it saved on my tools. And if you look, we're not going to be able to get too far in there anyway, so we can go the full length of that, and at least just take some of the meat out of it.
Same kind of speed on the Forstner bit as you did with the twist bit. Same speed with the Forstner.
Yeah, just slow.
250 to 450.
Yeah. And that just saved us a lot of time there, I think. Get the tailstock out of the way. I like to keep my controls like that, and on my Powermatic, I hit it with my leg. Every time I stop it, I stop it with my leg. I'm going to double check the tightness of that thing. It is green wood, it will loosen up on you. It's going to be in my way. About all I'm going to be able to get with this tool, because my tailstock's got a lock on the back of it. It won't let me take it off. It doesn't look like it's not going to work.
Phillips, take it out.
Where's a wrench? Well, the tools are back yonder.
Yeah.
Luckily, this one I can shorten the handle with. This is going to vibrate like that because knock it out too. Thank you, Bill.
You may not have to take it all the way off. Yeah.
I got some. Just a slot set. No big deal. See how hard it is? And then at some point, you need to start checking your thickness. These calipers here work pretty good. I don't know if you can you see that in the camera? The gap right here? How about that? Can you see the gap? And then that'll let you see where you're at. So what you want is you want to get this pretty much even all the way down as you're coming down through there with it. All right, now we're going to check that and see if we're staying even wall thickness. Thicker as we go. And we'll start thinning it down here shortly. And at some point we need to check our depth. We got a fancy depth gauge here. Yeah, something about right there. Now we got us a high price depth gauge here. So what I did is, if you look here, I just kind of marked kind of where I want the bottom to be. And now you can see what we got. We got from there to there, about 2 fingers wide. So we can start plunging in on that guy now. Standard bowl gouge, not the old big one. I'm going to go ahead and thin this wall down. And what I'm trying to do is not take out too much down at the bottom, because as I take it out at the bottom, it'll start flexing out here on the outside. So you want to do most of your rim work first before you thin it down too much. All right, so now we got it just about even all the way down. So whatever it looks like here, I don't know if you can see the thickness of that building, that view. Yeah. So that's about where we're at all the way down, and we just need to figure out how thin we want it. I'm not going to make it real thin for this demo. It'll take too long, and I don't think it's necessary. And on an overhead shot or the other one, you might be able to see the thickness of the wall through the shadow. I've actually got it right there. See, I can see it from right there to there. I don't know if y'all can. We're close to the same all the way down. We just need to take a little more as we go. So my cut's going to be a little deeper as I go in. Now I'm going to just go in try to make a fairly clean cut on that. That one should be pretty good now. That looks like a pretty decent finish. The wall thickness should be about the same all the way down. Yeah, we're good. So now we can go in and start to do some work. Need to be real careful on your tool rest there. It will hit it. And it'll take the bark right off. And I have had the bark to come off anyway, even when I'm just almost finished with one. It's disheartening. Disheartening, to say the least. Now, once you get down into the bottom, you need to figure out the depth, probably about now, and see if we still have anything left, or if we're fixing to go through the bottom. But I think we still got an inch or better. Double check that. Yeah, about an inch. Now we're going to work on the shape of the bottom. Try to get that smooth. And I can do that with a scraper a little bit too. I'm going to get some more of this out of there. And also be mindful as you're doing this about where your hand is on this bark. If it's spinning fast enough, it probably won't catch you. It'll probably push you away, but it could get in between there and take something off. I don't want anything taken off. Let the doctors keep doing all their cutting. Bill's making coffee over there. And the sign says not to turn it off. And that vibration you're hearing is that tool chattering because I'm overhung so far. I'm going to move my tool rest around and take care of part of that. You can switch to the bottom bowl gouge, take care of some of it. But I found it's just a regular old scraper. cut like this, 33 and 66. 66 on the bottom, 33 on the top. It should go in there. It's got a good thick blade. And it should knock those rust spots. See, it already took them out. I don't know if y'all heard that, but it's chunk, 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 and it was gone. All the shavings out there, and see what's going on. Let's see what it looks like.
We sure are making a mess.
I'm trying. You know, if you don't make a mess, you haven't done anything. And if you want a really nice finish, you can switch to a sharp tool like a negative rate scraper. And you can go in here and make just like a finish cut. See the little tiny shavings coming off of there? It's just because it's sharp. That red oak, especially where that little bit of a knot is in there, is really working on the tool. Goes it down real quick. Take the tip of this one, hopefully it's sharp enough to just finish the bottom there. Now, let's see if it's really got a dimple or if it just looks like it's got one. It just looks like it's got one. Well, that's good enough. Put it down to the bottom. I'm going to leave it a little thick, and I'm going to take some of that off when we turn it around. No, I'm just not going to spend a lot of time on a demo getting it down real thin. I'm going to leave it heavy in the bottom. I've heard people say that about leaving them thick, so if they drop it, more than likely if they drop it, it's going to hit on the edge and mess it up anyway. Probably wouldn't matter. So I try to make it uniform all the way around. And ideally, it would be this thickness all the way around, and it'd be less apt to crack. If I leave it thick on the bottom, much thicker than here, it will crack. This is just what's going to happen.
So you're doing it for...
Can y'all see the rust already? You got overhead. See all this rust? It's that quick.
It is that.
So I'm going to brush it just a little bit with this beeswax. Take some of that off. I mean, it's literally rusted. We'll have to sand that before we finish up. Even on mine with I clean it with that's that marine polish, prism polish. I clean mine with prism polish, and then I put Peel Shield on it that they sell down at Woodcraft, and it works pretty good, but it still rusts. Okay, so how do you guys get the tenon off? You said you've turned one?
Yeah,
How do you get your tenon off?
I actually did recess.
Oh, okay, so you didn't have to take the tenon off. Doug?
4-inch axe.
Say what?
A 4-inch axe.
4-inch axe?
Right.
Okay.
Just chop it off.
You just chop it off? Anybody else? Bill, how you get your tenon off?
I usually use a jam chuck and flip it over, and then take everything off with the last little nib, and then just install it and sand it.
So you just make you a jam chuck?
I've got multiples that I just leave laying around.
Pass that around. That is craft foam. It's closed cell foam that you get Walmart, Hobby Lobby. If you get the one at Hobby Lobby, it has an adhesive on the back. I really like it because it'll stay on here. But I just took my chuck and I went to the number 1 hole right there, and I try to line this guy up with the number 1 so that I can put it back the same place every time. So I just put this on the lathe, turned it, you see it runs true, it's good enough. So this is my jam chuck. And I got that closed cell foam on it. And my center. I hear you guys whispering. Whisper louder, we can't all hear you.
I'm gonna say I use a
Just share it with us.
router mat that I had for years. This is a router mat, and I just cut me some little squares or circles and lay it in there and use the jam chuck up against it.
Mouse pads,
You know,
all kinds of
mouse
stuff. I like
pads
something
work,
thin,
so.
fairly thin. If you guys notice, I just put that on there and flipped it around, and it looks like it's running true. So it works, it's a good method. And we know this thing was pretty thick in the bottom, so we know that we can go closer than that. And we can also take some of this off. So I should be able to true this thing up a little bit, hopefully. Time will tell. Still okay on the time?
I checked, we're cleared to stay till 10 tonight.
Till 10, all right. So we're gonna turn some to sale? Basically just blending that in to where we were earlier. And I know I'm going to have a line there, and it's okay. Because that will sand out after we finish that. So I'm not going to waste time on this, guys and gals. That's all we're going to do. Short cutter maybe. No CDs kicking in, Kevin. At least I know I got it and I'm doing it. We need to put a thread on the bottom of this thing. Preferably not a funnel thread. Hey, what?
You're taking a chance.
Taking a chance. Oops.
Yeah.
Is it that thin?
Yeah.
How thin is it?
Well, you can go down to an 8 or less, but that's the.
It's still thick down here. Listen.
Thinking about getting close to the.
Yeah, you can.
You catch it if it comes your way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it, John. If it goes anywhere, it'll go toward Tom.
Yeah.
gonna stop at that. I'm gonna knock a little bit spot right there off and just blend it in a little. I think that's good enough. Good enough. And then after it dries, you can see it's already drying out here. You can go back and sand that. And I actually use a orbital sander in the shop, pneumatic. And those things dry normally in a couple of days. And I'll just put them in there and power sand the outside of them, go up to like 320, put a finish on them, and that's it. What do you think, Tom? Will you catch it?
No.
You won't catch it for me?
No.
Why not?
You're not gonna, no.
I just don't want to have to sand a lot on that, Tom. And now I'm going to take that off with the power sander.
Yeah.
Comes off pretty good. Usually something to rest on help. Say what?
What grit?
Okay. Yeah, and I really just leave it very, very rough. I just want to get that off of there to where it's the same thickness. I don't want anything sticking out. And that's it. That's pretty cool. I like to leave bowls like this. I don't know if you can see it. Might be able to see it from this camera better. I tend to like one side higher than the other side. I don't know if you can see that on that camera angle, but when this thing sets flat, this side is lower than that side. And I think when you turn it on a table or something, it makes it look a little better because you can see both edges from it. So I tend to try to tilt it a little bit that way. And I don't always, like here, I tried to center that thing pretty well for the demo because it's quicker if it's centered. The more offset you get, the longer it takes to turn it. Some of the most beautiful holoforms that I've seen are almost like this. This goes way up high and it'll be slanted all the way down through here, and the thing may be this tall. And you're cutting in the air all the way down this thing. So, but anyway, play around with that.
Is it safer using a tenon rather than a mortise, like I did mine? I used the mortise and grip, use mine.
Yeah,
Is it safer using a tenon?
I use both a mortise and a tenon, or a recess and a tenon.
Right.
Hopefully that answered that. And I love it if they have a little piece like this. If you can find a little piece of bark that has a little knot or anything, I will take every measure I can to keep those on there because I think they look neat. I like the odd stuff. Knots. I love to get something with a knot. Those little tiny, I call them angel hair shavings that you get. I don't tend to get those with anything but a high-speed steel. The high-speed steel will dull real quick, but at home in the shop, I turn around and my very last cut, always, my finish cut is I turn around, I sharpen the tool, and then I go back. And I do it with a high-speed steel. And you'll notice this is a M42, and so this is high-speed steel. So that was what I was doing a moment ago, was I was finishing up with a high-speed steel, and this one was a high-speed steel. So when I said I'm going to make a finish cut, that was the question that John was asking, was don't you finish with the high-speed steel? And the answer is yes, M2 or high-speed steel.
How do you put a new edge or refresh the edge on a negative rig scraper?
Right off the grinder.
Just off grinding?
Yeah, just grind it. All right, we probably need to get cleaned up unless you guys have any other questions.
You're out.
Yeah, I'll be doing this while y'all doing that.
Thank you, Tim. And one other thing, next month,